Ephemera 8 Divine Codes are available to earn in Update 6.8. Today we'll be going over the available con manuals you can buy and what's grabbing. Perhaps not the most eye-catching badge this month, but there are some solid utility skills a free copy doesn't hurt having. First up is Pirate Geese, who used to have pretty high value mainly due to his weapon, the Flowing Lance Plus. This is a solo weapon with a stronger low attack and defense skill, so it could be fun on flyers who can't use lows, and now we got control near trace to make a nice build with it. Double solo stacking, also very easy to put together. The Flowing Lance is good stuff, but we now have the Unbound Lance Plus from Marcia, who is a demoted unit. Marcia's also available in this batch. If you just wanted Flowing Lance, depending on your RNG in the past year, you may already have some spare Marcias and thus Unbound Lance. If you do still want this weapon though, grab Reposition and Fire Boost 3 if you want. Fire Boost is still not really very exciting, but the tier 2 is on some other free-to-play units. Maybe we'll get those tier 4's versions someday, but until then, not a very big concern. While Flowing Lance is no longer premium fodder, Geese does have Infantry Pulse, very versatile skill for quick on stacking teams, and our only free-to-play source is Marcia and the recent young Boyd. Depending on if you're merging those two, a free Infantry Pulse may be worth your Ephemera. Overall, he still has good value, but Flowing Lance wise, he is no longer that in demand. Joining Geese is Petra, worth noting that Petra is from the same banner as Hilda, so her own refine might not be that far in the future. It could be a nice free merge right here. Without an inherent weapon, not a lot of fancy skill foddering going on. For the most part, Petra can give you Luna, and then you take your pick of Attacking Speed Form 3, Aerobatics 3, or Ground Orders 3. Attacking Speed Form is not really a super in-demand A skill, but it is technically hard to get. As for Aerobatics, it is a Sacred Seal, but it's not that easy to get into the B slot. As we discussed on the banner, if you aren't running trace skills, not a lot of other B skill options for warping to allies may be worth using. As for Ground Orders, also a Sacred Seal, and also hard to get in the C slot. It may be better off in that C slot as a more supportive unit like a Dancer, but just in general, it can provide amazing support. Personally, I would grab either of the flyer mobility skills. While there are Sacred Seal versions of these, both are really nice to have in their respective normal slots. Moving on to the 4-star Ephemera, these cost 100 Ephemera each. Our returning Tempest unit this time is Valentines Lissa, who is of the rare Armored Healer class type. I really want to build mine up just for fun. Lissa has a neat inheritable weapon, the Staff Attribute Plus. If the user is within 3 spaces of an ally, during combat they're going to get plus 6 defense and res, and after combat you heal nearby allies and yourself for 7 HP. This is not a support staff. All of these effects purely affect the healer. If you wanted to make Lissa or any armored healer into a far saver, this is probably one of the best weapons for that. More tankiness and AoE healing, not a lot of offense though. At 5 stars, you're going to have Martyr Plus for healing and Heavenly Light as a common healer special. You're also going to need to 5-star Lissa if for defense and res ideal 3. She's our only free-to-play source with this skill, so if you want to get the tier 4s, you could use her. Pirate Surtur and Medeas have the tier 4 ideal skill, and Surtur should be rerun relatively soon. As for res opening, you can find this on Lissa's sister, Emerin, in the demoted pool, so maybe not as needed. If you want to save on heroic res, Valentines Lissa could be worth grabbing. Next up is our more recent demote, Marsha. As I mentioned earlier, Marsha has the Unbound Lance Plus, which is the exact same as Geese's Flowing Lance. Solid weapon, and if you weren't merging Marsha, it's nice fodder to have on a demoted unit. If you did not care about Geese's other skills, you can spend 200 more Ephemera on him to not have to 5-star Marsha. Saving those 20,000 feathers might be worth it to you. Otherwise, pick up Fury 3 and Luna along the way here. At 4 stars, Marsha has Speed of Defense Gap 3, which is pretty rare, and this is the easiest way to get this buffing skill. You can also pick it up with Fury 3 or Luna. The rest of his batch is only tier 1 units, so not really a lot of useful stuff unless you're an absolutely new player, and even then, maybe not worth the Ephemera. For Arthur, he's going to have Swap, which is a fine assist skill, and then HP plus 5 at 4 stars. At 5 stars, you can get Lancebreaker 3, but you can also just use a 4-star Oscar, so really not worth the feathers. You can also get the Emerald Axe Plus, which is a Triangle Depth 3 weapon. Next, we have Kane, whose main purpose is the Red Bull is to give you wings, thanks to Wings of Mercy 3. Still a very relevant skill even today, so if you have no Wings of Mercy fodder, then he might be worth grabbing. You can also get Escutcheon for a melee defensive special. At 5 stars, Kane's going to have a Threaten Attack 3, which is not really worth using feathers for. He then has the Brave Sword Plus, which is on a bunch of other demoted units. Last up, we have Cecilia. At 4 stars, she has Escape Route 3, which is much less common than its warping counterpart. There is also Rally Resistance for buffing. At 5 stars, please don't spend 20,000 feathers just for Attack plus 3. If anything, Cecilia is the only holder of the Green Raven Tome. To be honest, Cecilia herself has a Raven Tome unique refined with her flyer effectiveness and built-in triangle depth. It's an interesting niche coming from such an old unit. that will be it for this batch of Ephemera common manuals. Not the most immediately exciting group, but we have some interesting skills coming from the 5 stars. For me, I will definitely grab another copy of Lissa, and I'll probably take both 5 stars if we get enough Ephemera. I'm lucky enough to have a couple Marshas already on hand. Good luck getting all the Ephemera 8 divine codes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.